Hello everyone. In this video we are going to analyze baggage post courier. See, when we talk about baggage, the main thing which you should understand is I am getting these goods while coming from outside India to India. I could be a person who has gone there for a tour. I could be a person who is staying outside India. Or it could be a tourist who lives in US but I have come for a small holiday. In such cases, there is a free allowance which is allowed. See, whatever goods are imported into India, custom duty is applicable. Charging section is very plain in customs which says any goods imported would be liable to custom duty. If this baggage rules was not there, imagine what would have happened. I have taken my clothes outside India and then I bring it in India. It becomes a case of import. I'll have to pay custom duty on that. Yes, but baggage rules provide various reliefs, including getting those clothes from outside India, plus getting some goods from outside India. To a certain extent, government has allowed certain benefits. Now, our task would be to remember all these benefits perfectly, an important area in examination. Let me just show you a small diagram which will help you to remember all the provisions regarding to baggage with respect to free allowance which is allowed. But before I show you that diagram, let me also tell you that a particular person getting one laptop who is a person aged more than 18 years, in that case, custom duty is not applicable. And what is the rate in case of baggage? 38.5%. How do I get 38.5%? 35% basic custom duty plus 10% social welfare surcharge. That is 38.5%. Plus, you should also remember that, say suppose I get a gun from outside India and I declare it, but I was unaware that custom duty is applicable. Then I say, no, I don't want to take it in India. You keep it at the custom port or custom airport. While going, I will take it back. Is it permissible? The answer is yes, that is permissible. But you have to declare it. It is not possible that if you don't declare it and then it is caught, then you say, okay, keep it. While going, I will take it away. That's not permissible. So, the provision also allow us to keep the goods with the custom port airport, and thereafter, while the person is going away, he might take those goods, or in some cases, authorities might send it through post or courier. Clear? Okay. Let's see the exemptions or the free allowance which is allowed for baggage. Now, see this. First, we are talking about free allowance. Free allowance depends on who is the person coming in. Is he an Indian resident? Is he a foreigner who is residing in India? Expats? Or is he a tourist of Indian origin? If he is one of these and not coming from 3 specified countries, he will get a free allowance of 50,000. Sir, which are those 3 specified countries? These are basically connected through land route, and there might be lot of cases of custom duty evasion, and that's why government has very clear that for Nepal, Bhutan and Myanmar, it would be 15,000, and only if it is through air. It is through air, not by land route. Okay. If it's a tourist of foreign origin, whether he is coming from these 3 through air or through other countries, 15,000 free allowance is permissible. Now when I say free allowance, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इतने वैल्यू तक का प्रोडक्ट you can get into India. Now, there are free allowance limits. Free allowance में you cannot bring certain things. That is mentioned in Annexure 1. Now, what you can't get is mentioned in Annexure 1. First one is firearm. Second one is cartridge of firearm in excess of 50 units. So, up to 50 units, you can get it as part of free allowance. More than 50 units, no, that would not be part of free allowance. Cigarette, 100 units allowed. More than 100 units will not form part of free allowance. cigar 25 units, tobacco 125 grams. So these are to be read in combination. Alcoholic liquor 2 liters. Gold or silver other than ornaments. Be very careful. Ornaments are allowed in free allowance, but gold bullion, silver bullion, that is not allowed in free allowance. You will have to pay custom duty on that. Flat TV, be it LED, plasma, LCD, doesn't matter. It is not allowed as free allowance. Okay, these are mentioned in Annexure 1. The first three which you say, full rate of custom duty will be applicable if it is more than these limits. And let me tell you, the full rate of custom duty can range from 60% basic custom duty to 150% basic custom duty in certain cases. So that's why firearm, cartridge, cigarette, cigar and tobacco, full rate of custom duty will be applicable if they are more than these limits. And for an infant, used personal effect is allowed. And who is an infant? Less than 2 years. Plus, with this free allowance, you also get some more benefits. One is you can get used personal effect. You can get one laptop if the person is 18 years or more. Travel souvenir, and the rate of custom duty is 38.5%. This is the baggage rate. Now, let's see a small example. Say suppose firearm, I get it, the value is 70,000. Can I claim free allowance? The answer is no. Nahi milega free allowance. Plus, full rate of custom duty will be applicable, not 38.5%. 38.5% is very low for firearm. Then so people will start getting firearm as part of baggage. And that's why highest rate or the actual custom duty rate will be applicable. Let's take an example of cartridge. Cartridge of a firearm. Cartridge of a firearm up to 100 units which I have got for 2 lakh. See, what is permissible? 50 units. So 50 units to that extent 1 lakh. Balance 50 units to that extent 1 lakh. The first 1 lakh that is relatable to 50 units will form part of baggage. That means if the baggage is valued at 1 lakh, that is 50 units, I'll get a free allowance of 50,000 and on balance 50,000, I have to pay 38.5%. And what about balance 50, 1 lakh? No benefit available. Full rate of custom duty will be applicable. Are you very clear with this? Yes? Yes. Be very careful. Remember this. Firearm, cartridge, cigarette, cigar, tobacco, alcoholic liquor for human consumption, gold, silver other than ornaments and flat TV. Yes? Okay. This is the free allowance which is allowed to everyone irrespective of the stay outside India. Doesn't matter. Irrespective of the stay outside India. You might stay outside India for 2 days, 1 day, 3 days. Doesn't matter. You will be eligible for this free allowance. Now let's talk about additional allowance which are allowed for certain cases. Say suppose a professional is returning into India. A professional, a person who was working outside India, he is returning to India. See, when he is returning to India, obviously, he would have lot of things at his home outside India. He might bring all that. In such cases, the additional allowance is much higher. And obviously, this is only for used household and personal effect. That's it. And remember one thing, gold, jewelry wearing and coming into India, that is not personal effect. The law clearly says that it is not personal effect and you can never club the free allowance of 2 persons like Mr. A, Mrs. A, both. You take it as 1 lakh. That's not permitted. That's not permitted. It has to be done separately. So say suppose I get a music system of 70,000. I can't break it between Mr. A and Mrs. A. One of them have to take it in their account and free allowance will be 50,000, on balance 20,000. Custom duty will be payable. So coming back to this additional allowance. Additional allowance for household effects, used household effects, bringing into India, depends on the stay outside India. If you have stayed outside India for more than 3 months but up to 6 months, in that case 60,000. More than 6 months up to 1 year, 1 lakh. 1 year to 2 year, you get 2 lakh, and more than 2 years to the extent of 5 lakh. Say suppose I have stayed there for 23 months. Hey, 23 months meaning less than 2 years. In that case, can I still claim 5 lakh benefit? The answer is yes. Government has given such power to the officers to condone delay for certain cases. Similarly, if you are just near about that and you have grounds, sufficient cause, you can claim a higher exemption or additional allowance. That is at the discretion of the officer to allow you. Clear with this? Yes? Okay. When we talk about jewelry, there is one exemption for jewelry. Remember, this is for jewelry. This is not for gold or silver. In bullion, it is only in case of jewelry. Now, how much is available? For men, 20 grams or 50,000, whichever is lower. Women, 40 grams or 1 lakh, whichever is lower. Be very careful about this, whichever is lower. Obviously, these limits have become redundant now, because if you see the 10 gram price today, obviously it does not make any sense today. But that's what the exemption deals with, 20 grams or 50,000, whichever is lower. You know which is going to be lower, 20 grams or 50. Obviously, what is going to be lower is 50,000. Clear? Okay. Now, this was about baggage. When we talk about unaccompanied baggage, remember one thing. In case of unaccompanied baggage, free allowance is not given. But any benefit like used personal effect, travel souvenir, all that will be allowed if unaccompanied baggage comes on time, or the person who has first brought the baggage and then he is going to come, if he comes within time. Now, say suppose the baggage has come. If the baggage has come, then the person can arrive within 2 months from the arrival of the baggage. So, baggage has come first, person has to come within 2 months. If the person does not come within 2 months, in such cases, what would happen? In such cases, an extension can be taken if there are exceptional circumstances, natural calamity, COVID. In such cases, obviously, an extension would be allowed. What happens if the person has come first and then baggage? Baggage has to be dispatched from the other country within 1 month. See, these unaccompanied baggage are cases where I come from flight, but I don't bring entire baggage through flight because the expenditure would be very high. So, I route it through vessel. In such cases, it is unaccompanied baggage. So, unaccompanied baggage has to come within this time limit. What's the time limit? If baggage has come first, in that case, the person should arrive within 2 months. If person has come first, in that case, the baggage has to be dispatched from the other country within 1 month. These limits can be enhanced by ACDC. That's a power which is available to them. Clear? Yes. Plus, a crew member of a flight or of a vessel does not get these allowances. They get this only at the time of leaving their service. At that point of time, they will get it once. Otherwise, they keep coming and going from outside India to India. Every time when they come, will they get this free allowance of 50,000? The obvious answer is no. The allowance which is allowed to crew members is to the extent of 1,500. They can bring some chocolate, cheese, some small products, some small gifts. That is permissible, not more than that. Clear? Yes? Okay. This was regarding baggage. This diagram will help you one day before the examination. Now, when we talk about stores, see, what do we mean by stores? Stores are supplied to a vessel or aircraft for their transit. This could include food, this could include oil, this could include other safety equipments which are there on the vessel or aircraft for usage. So stores can be of two types. One, it could be a domestic store or it could be a imported store. Say suppose it's a domestic store. See, we are the manufacturers or we are the importers, and we are supplying these stores to the vessel or aircraft. Understand the purpose. And this vessel is a foreign going vessel. When I say foreign going vessel, what do I mean? When I say it's a foreign going vessel or aircraft, in such case, it is to depart from a place in India to a place outside India. That's what is the meaning of foreign going vessel. It can touch any intermediate port in India. It will not be affecting its status of foreign going vessel. Like a ship is going from Chennai to Mumbai and then going to US. Just because it is coming to Mumbai does not mean it loses its status of foreign going vessel. Whether or not it is touching an intermediate port, it will still remain a foreign going vessel. But it should not carry coastal goods. Now what is the meaning of coastal goods? Obviously, coastal goods means domestic goods. It should not carry domestic goods from Chennai to Mumbai. In that case, it becomes a coastal runs. Now, when we talk about supply made to a foreign going vessel, obviously it is regarded as export. When the manufacturer is selling it, it is domestic stores being supplied. GST will not be applicable. Correct? If it is supplied to a foreign going vessel. Say suppose there is an importer who has imported oil from Saudi Arabia and he is supplying this as imported store. Obviously, again, no custom duty will be applicable on such imported store. But it has to be supplied to a foreign going vessel. If it is supplied to a vessel which is carrying out a coastal run, that is, it is carrying some coastal goods, in such cases, GST will be applicable, plus that importer storing that oil in a warehouse is also required to pay custom duty. Okay. Sir, what if importer has imported oil and already paid custom duty and then he is supplying this to this particular vessel? If he has already paid custom duty and then he is supplying it to this vessel, then he can claim something called as duty drawback, and that too to the extent of 100% of the custom duty paid. This is the benefit which is available. So normally what happens is the importer keeps it in the warehouse. Oil which is to be supplied to the foreign going vessel is kept at the warehouse without payment of custom duty. That into bond bill of entry. You file into bond bill of entry, store it in the warehouse, and from the warehouse you supply it to the foreign going vessel. If you have already paid custom duty and then you are supplying, then you can claim a duty drawback. And will GST be applicable on such imported store? Obviously the answer is no. But the moment it is any thing other than foreign going vessel, in such cases GST would have to be charged. Clear with this? This was a small discussion in case of stores. Now, what happens in case of post or courier? See, can you get goods from post or courier? The answer is yes. Now, when you import goods through a post or courier, do you file bill of entry for home consumption? Into bond bill of entry, ex bond bill of entry? The answer obviously is no. So, in that case, who clears it? In case of post or courier, clearance is done by the postal authorities on our behalf. Postal authorities clear these goods on our behalf. When I say postal authorities clear these goods on our behalf, the question is, do the postal authorities have a power to check the goods in case they find any suspicion? The answer is yes, they have a power. See, officers obviously have that power to check the goods. But do the postal authorities also have the power? The answer is yes, postal authorities can check that particular parcel. But before checking, they will have to inform the importer saying that at this point of time, at this place, we are going to open the parcel. If you come, we'll open it in front of you. If you don't come, we will still open the parcel. Postal authorities have this particular power. Now, the question is which day's rate of duty will be applicable. See, rate of duty in case of imports will be on the day when list is submitted to proper officer. And who submits this list? The postal authorities. Postal authorities submitting the list to proper officer. But is it possible that the postal authorities have submitted this list before the vessel has come into India? Now think. List submitted before the vessel has come into India. In such cases, the day when the vessel comes, that would be regarded as the applicable date for determining rate of duty. So be very careful. In case you submit the list before the vessel has come, then the date of arrival of vessel or aircraft will be considered for the purpose of finding the rate of duty. This is same as that bill of entry for home consumption or entry inward / arrival of aircraft, whichever is later. Okay. Now in case of exports, which day's rate of duty will be used? In case of exports, rate of duty will be based on the day when the person hands over or gives the article to postal authorities. The day that article is given to the postal authorities, that day's rate of duty will be considered in case of exports. A very simple reason for that, because postal authorities will have to determine the export duty, if any, and collect it at that point of time. So the day the article is delivered or given to the postal authorities, that day's rate of duty will be considered. So be very careful with regard to this rate of duty. Can be asked for MCQs. Yes, so we have discussed baggage, we discussed stores, post and courier. See you in the next video.